Alright guys, there's the Alamo, San Antonio. Can't get to it anymore like you used to.
And to this day, this Hilton property still holds the Guinness Book of World Record, the fastest built large hotel. That 507 room hotel was built in only 202 days. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this river. It's called the San Antonio River, and it is a real river. It's been here for thousands of years. There's all kinds of documentation showing that people lived here in the early 1500s. This river is also unique in that it's all natural spring water. It comes bubbling out of the ground, millions of gallons. Only 4 miles upstream from here is where this river starts. And it comes out of the ground like a geyser. Then it works its way through the river walk and then comes all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, should you find yourself in the river, for whatever reason, no fault of mine, of course, but if you did, stop screaming. Just stand up and walk out, because it's only 3 feet deep. See all these people on both sides of the roads of the river, and now they got them on the boat over here? They are called tourists. Now the reason I point out that very important fact, folks, is because tourists wave like this. There are no tourists on this boat, folks. We are celebrities. You know how they wave. And they do know we're celebrities, by the way. She told them. Straight through this area is known as La Villita. Means little village in Spanish. A lot of shops and restaurants now. But in the 1700s, this area was all occupied by armies from Spain because Spain owned Texas. Then in the 1800s, the Mexican armies moved in, including one famous General Santa Anna, who of course is the guy that did in the Alamo. Right here is the location. Santa Anna had his 2,000 men and all of his cannons and artillery. And for 13 days and nights, he bombarded the Alamo with cannon fire until it did fall. It says night in old San Antonio going up. There'll be 20,000 people up there within the next hour. This stage on the right-hand side, you may have seen it before. If you remember the movie, Miss Congeniality with Sam Cooke. So here's where they filmed all the swimsuit contests. It's a really good movie. Definitely a chick flick, but I liked it too. Coming up on our right, check out this cattle sculpture. It shows just how hard it was to herd longhorn cattle. They were mean, they were wild, they had huge horns. And in the 1800s, there were an estimated 10 million longhorns running wild in Texas alone. Free for the taking. Nobody owned them. They were called Mavericks. You put your brand on them, they were yours. Sounds easy. Probably wasn't. But in the early days, that's how these ranches got started, 3 cattle. Here's a very low-hanging bridge. Nobody choose this one to stand up, please. It caused me a lot of paperwork. There's people standing in line right above this bridge waiting to get into Niosa. Literally 10,000 people an hour will be going in there. Coming up on our right-hand side, this area is known as Marriage Island. Over 400 wedding ceremonies performed right here every year. Oh, look, we got a couple. Maybe they want to get married. Sir, I am a boat captain. All you got to do is say I do, and you're done. I see from 1 to 5 weddings every day there. Every day there. Even on bad weather. Why is that such a special place? That's the site of the very first Catholic Mass in South Texas. And that was June 13, 1691. So you can tell this river has been here a long, long time. These big trees are called ball cypress. They can live over 2,000 years. Straight ahead of us, and then up high, you see a red rocket-looking building. That's the Bexar County Courthouse. Built in 1896, it's the longest continuously operated courthouse in Texas. Now, my favorite building on all these tours is on the left-hand side. But you got to look all the way to the very top of it to see what I want to show you. This was built by 2 superstitious brothers who put gargoyle monsters on the very top. See them hanging off the sides on the very top, all the way around it. Then they also decided to put scary faces on the side of the building. They got closer to the water, maybe 25 feet up. All of this was supposed to scare away evil spirits and bad business. Well, it didn't work. This was the Great Depression, 1929. 2 brothers lost everything. They had invested $4 million in that building. It was foreclosed, taken away, and sold for taxes for $300,000. In 1929, this was the tallest building in the United States west of the Mississippi River. And it held that record for about a year. Straight ahead of us at this bridge, you'll see we're getting ready to leave the Riverwalk. That's the main river channel ahead. And it goes all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, I'm supposed to turn right up here. But I'm thinking about doing something different. Make a left-hand turn, go 162 miles. Tonight, just past Corpus Christi, enter the Gulf of Mexico, make a right-hand turn, next stop, Cancun. Yeah. But we're going to need a lot more alcohol, folks. There's a mama duck with a bunch of ducks on the right-hand side here. Anybody on that side? They just started to hatch. Come on, don't run out in front of me, ducks. Yeah, they're good. And actually, y'all wouldn't like me very much if I had turned left. If you look back down that way, you'll see a warning light. Right where that light is a 25-foot drop-off waterfall. So probably not a good idea. Yeah, it's interesting to watch these mother ducks because they herd, if that's what you do to ducks, herd them away from the boat. And although the boats are designed not to hurt them because it pushes water ahead, they'll go out floating like on a surfboard. But this river is the San Antonio River, and it does go all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Coming up on our left-hand side, you're going to see some stair steps leading up to the oldest church in Texas, the San Fernando Cathedral. It's also the burial site for all of the defenders of the Alamo, including Davy Crockett, Jim Bowie, and 187 others are buried right up here to our left, and then look back to the left. You'll see a church with twin towers. back to the left, you'll see it, Twin Towers. Are y'all aware they're all buried in one casket? Seriously, how that happened, Santa Anna was so angry that it took 13 days to take the Alamo, he ordered all the bodies burned. So what's in the casket are bone. We're going to let our taxi shuttle go by us. I guess we're not. He's waving me on. Straight ahead of us, this tree, oldest tree on the river. It's over 650 years old. It's also known, straight ahead of us, it's also known as the sniper tree because Mexican snipers would go all the way to the top of it to get better shots at the Texans. Over here on our right is Hugman's Tiki Bar. They have over 200 human skulls in there. Right here on our right. I find it's an interesting place. They don't have food in there, but they boast 52 different kinds of rum. Yo ho ho, the bottle of rum, maybe, I don't know. Coming up on our right-hand side at the end of these construction gates is the Esquire Tavern, oldest bar on the river. It was selling alcohol in the early 1930s when that was a federal crime because of Prohibition. How'd they get away with it? They were disguised as a barber shop. You had to know the code, what kind of haircut to order and on what day if you wanted to walk out of there with more than a haircut, meaning a bottle. And to this day, they still boast the longest wooden bar in Texas. Really a cool place to have a beer, a glass of wine, but you have to sit at the bar. Okay, straight ahead, see a bridge. That's named for Selena. And I don't mean Selena Gomez, you younger kids. Selena Pettis, who's a Tejano music superstar who died tragically young. I think Selena was only 23 when she was murdered in Corpus Christi. Her husband proposed to her on this very bridge coming up. Then in 1997, Jennifer Lopez played Selena in the movie. The movie actually launched her movie career, and this bridge is in the movie. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Selena. I personally think it's a really good one. But lately, I've been watching Selena the series on Netflix, and I tell you, I'm thinking it's just as good as the movie. It's just missing one thing. Jennifer Lopez. I do like to watch her. This is definitely the most famous bridge on the river, though, right here, Selena's Bridge. On the left-hand side, this hotel, or this building is now a hotel. But in 1853, this building on the left was a Catholic all-boys school. Later on, became Central Catholic High School. After that, St. Mary's School of Law, before finally becoming a luxury hotel, right before the 1968 World's Fair that we talked about. Hospital building. Built in 1930, that was the only hospital in the United States at that time that had air conditioning. We do like our AC here in San Antonio a lot. Now I'm going to show you an optical illusion about the Nix Hospital building. As soon as we come out of this bridge, look up to the left. But instead of it looking like a building, the hospital's going to look like a wall. You ready to look on the left? All the way to the top. That hospital is the birthplace of comedian Carol Burnett, as well as Marine Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. And speaking of him, we love our military here in San Antonio. Anybody on board that's current military, previous military, or families of military, hold up your hand. Woo! A lot of us. Give yourselves a hand, folks. Military. Military. Woo! Man, they're even clapping out there in the cheap seats. Straight ahead of us, this Hyatt Regency Hotel building. Hyatt wanted to build this building twice as tall as it is. San Antonio said no, because the Alamo's just on the other side of it. And if it were allowed to be any taller, when the sun would set, it would cast a shadow on the Alamo, and we could not have that in Texas, no way. But true story. In fact, that same thing limits all the buildings in this immediate area to the same height as the Hyatt Regency. I told y'all I don't shut up very much. Are y'all aware the Alamo is not even its real name? It's Mission Valero. Why do they call it the Alamo? Because in the early 1700s, missionaries from Spain were here, and they built it in the shade of the only big cottonwood trees on the river. So the locals started referring to it as El Alamo, because Alamo in Spanish means cottonwood tree. And now you know the rest of the story, just like Paul Harvey, if anybody on the road remembers him.
Good day.
On the right-hand side, this building is a casino club building, built in 1927 by German immigrants, and they built it as a casino with its own social club. Now, folks, a social club back then means something totally different than what it means now, if you know what I mean. There's a whole lot of socializing going on in that club. But guess who lived here years later after it became apartments? Alex Haley. Alex Haley lived on the second floor of that building when he wrote the final chapter of his best-selling book, Roots. This section of the river is known as Restaurant Road. If you can't find something you like down here, you're probably not hungry. Check out these dinner boats coming up here on our right. It's a full-service meal for 22 people. They have a bartender and server on it. You make the reservations through the restaurants. And one thing, you probably see all these glass bottles and glass everything. We only put our very best drivers on these, as you might know. That would be bad.
$3 more. Jerry, tell them for $3 more.
It's really a cool experience. And it's about the same price as just the meat. Straight ahead and up high, street level wise, real high, see an orange sculpture. That was a gift from Mexico. It's called the Torch of Friendship. 65 feet tall and weighs 45 tons. Built by a very famous Mexican sculptor named Sebastian. This section of the river is known as Restaurant Road. Well, this is Casa Rio Restaurant, oldest restaurant on the river. Built in 1946, and back then they even had dining on gondola boats, just like in Venice, Italy, and they had gondoliers on board pulling them around. And while they would eat, he would sing to them, maybe something like, "Oh, mi solo Maria, Maria," or maybe nothing like that. At least nobody was eating out here to throw something at me. I kid you not, a couple nights ago, somebody threw a rolled up flour tortilla at me. I thought that was pretty rude. But you know what? I was hungry, I caught it, I ate it, and I thanked them. Now, the sad thing, see all these seats? This is probably the most behind us that are empty. This is probably the most successful restaurant on the river. They can't get anybody to work. So they're working 12 and 14 hours, but they're not open on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Y'all find that in wherever you're from? Same thing? No? On the left-hand side, this building with the flags, the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. This is the most boring building on the river. Nobody gives two hoots about that building, but I'm required to mention it. Now, if you look straight ahead, then up high to the left, the taller of those two buildings, the Marriott Hotel. It had a heck of a time getting built. Because right where Marriott wanted to build that big monster, there was already a little 3-story brick hotel on site there called the Fairmont Hotel. Well, the Fairmont was built in 1906, so it was on the Federal Historic Registry. They couldn't tear it down. They finally got permission to move it, so they jacked up that also built for the World's Fair. 750 feet tall, has a revolving restaurant at the top, the Chart House. Now folks, we're about to wind this up. We're going to be right back where we started. I'm going to put my tip jar out, in case you didn't hear it. Should you like to participate in the tips? I hope you do. It's very, very much appreciated. We're going to be docking in about a minute. Everybody please remember what all you brought on. Take it and remain seated until I get us tied up. Sit straight ahead and see another really good shot of the Stargazer. Now folks, the only way I know to say goodbye to y'all is to sing you the goodbye song, but I need you to sing it with me. And I know you know it, you just don't know that you know it. Sing with me loud. Let's make everybody know we're coming in. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. One more time. Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. Folks, thanks so much for riding with me. I hope y'all did have a good time. Thank you, Dietrich.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna